Quest.
Hello VHS Quest collectors, I'm Sam Ashurst, I'm a writer, I'm a director, and I watch a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Shay Mossifin. I'm a VHS distributor. I'm a film producer of extremely low budget stuff, and I am a podcast lady.
That's right, and we are combining all of that knowledge into one episode of tape watching mania. We have 4 weird movies. One of them actually isn't a movie, but that might be the strangest one of all. We've got a whole bunch of weird shit to talk about. So let's just get straight into it with our first tape. And I don't actually know if there'll be a trailer for this or any of the things we're talking about this week. It's one of those weeks. Oh, and I should say, actually, it's a lunch meat special, right, Shay? That's how you want it to...
Correct. Yeah, we have quite a few titles here from Lunch Meat. I have a stack that I've been meaning to go through, and I don't order everything that they put out, but I try to get the stuff that's a little more compelling, especially the reissues of things that were long out of print or had never had a release. Whew, there's some real special ones today, let me tell you. But there's a really interesting one that we're going to start with that is basically the third feature film from Susanna Copostasi. And that is Night of the Zodiac. Here is the trailer, if it exists.
I see that you are working on a movie about me.
How do you know what I'm working on? Nobody knows what I'm working on.
Meet me at 8 Mile and Ford Road, 6 o'clock sharp.
Who is this?
Goodbye.
Slaves of Paradise. We need a film. This map provides the means. Guys like the Polonia brothers, Tim Ritter, Donald Farmer, John McBride, these guys fight tooth and nail and tape with no budget and no crew to make their movies. And I'm gonna be just like them. I got some bad ideas. I got some evil flow. I got a mind that's crossing the line. It's not a crime to do get close. I got some bad ideas. I got some bad ideas tonight. I got a feeling burning in my head. I never brought this shit away. Oh yeah. Man, it looks like you blew your audition.
All right, so yeah, this was a really interesting one because Shay has had this tape for a while, Night of the Zodiac, and it is called to me from the shelves, but in a rather lovely happenstance, Shay was actually sent the DVD of Night of the Zodiac as a gift that was thrown in with a movie that you ordered from a very unique director. Why don't you give a bit of background on what you actually ordered and who this person is?
Yeah, her name's Susanna. She is the only woman that I'm aware of who is currently making shot-on-video horror films. In particular, ultra-gory films. She's very entrenched in the shot-on-video culture. She's obsessed with Tim Ritter, with John McBride, the Woodchipper Massacre guy. She loves the Polonias. And she does reference those people and their films directly in her filmmaking. And it's either your thing or not your thing. So if you're not a big fan of that genre, I wouldn't suggest checking her stuff out. But if you do love the ultra gory, heart on its sleeve, literally, maybe some intestines and brains too, then check her stuff out. Her first film was called Metal Maniac, or Maniacs, I can't remember, but I ordered that off of a Facebook VHS group page where she had just gone in there and said, hey, I made a horror film. I shot it on video. I've edited it on video, and there's only a couple of copies. And I ordered it. And later on, Lunch Meat put out her second film, Night of the Zodiac. I think SRS put out the DVD. Yes, they did. And they may have collaborated on that release, but it's sealed, and I've been very reluctant to open it. I have a hard time opening sealed tapes for some reason, although we did open a sealed one for tonight's episode. But when I ordered her most recent film called The Emasculator, it came with a bunch of extras, and I noticed it was self-released. I think the company is called Johnny Braineater Productions. I'm not sure if that's her or someone that she knows, but she wrote me a note and said, hey, I remember you from like 4 or 5 years ago when you ordered my, she called it like a shitty movie called Metal Maniac. And she's all, thanks for the support. I gave you some extras. She gave me some foil stickers that she'd made of great horror films and a little penis whistle, for lack of a better descriptor, that goes with the film, The Emasculator. There's this like red kind of nasty fake blood putty, plasticine on the end. And this one looks a little too extreme for most film releasing companies. So that is why it's self-released. We will watch that soon and give you a full report. But Night of the Zodiac might be her most approachable, quote-unquote, horror film to date. And I think it was pretty interesting. What did you think about it, Sam?
Interesting is the word, because when we were watching it, like, we had fun watching it and spotting all the little... There's lots of background detail in this one, lots of references to other pop culture things. I believe it's set in the 90s, but, for example, our lead character, because it's so fuzzy, you can't really make out a lot of costume details, but in the fuzziness, I was like, is he wearing a VFA t-shirt? And I looked it up and compared the Google image search to what we were seeing, kind of fuzzy on screen, and he sure was. And for anyone who doesn't know, the VFA is Greg Turkington's fictional video archive company that he does for On Cinema at the Cinema. He collects tapes and puts them into the VFA. Very similar to what we do, actually, with our collection of tapes. But anyway, it's almost like the director was building a universe out of her brain. Like, if you were to peer into her brain or her taste centers, then this is what you'd see. Like a kind of messy room full of all of this amazing cool junk. So I enjoyed that element of it very much. And actually, the more I thought about this one in the days after we watched it, the more I'm thinking back on it quite fondly, because it is very punk rock. Like, it has some strange angles, it has some strange editing decisions, strange acting choices, but it has this slightly hypnotic quality to it. Not exactly Tarkovsky-esque, but it does have this weird, unique quality to it that, when you put that hand in hand with all of the fistfuls of blood that are thrown against the wall with every kill, I actually do have very fond memories of watching that with you. How did you feel about the movie?
Yeah, I do too. The more I think about it, the more I liked it. I had moments where I was quite bored and really wanted it to go faster than it was, because some of her choices were, I guess the way that you said it was a little more experimental, or kind of strange angles, where the character is talking to an inanimate object and his back is to the camera.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
So
thinking
it was
of,
bizarre. Yeah. And at first I was like, why is she doing that? Why isn't she spot on? But it's funny, I'd make a comment about like, well, they should have a close-up of what he's writing. And then later on, you'd say, hey, Shay, they're doing what you said.
Yeah,
like
that happened a couple of times. And it's almost as if, I mean, I know this isn't Susanna's first movie, but it was almost like she was learning as she went along, and we could see it happen.
That was the same thought I just had. Yeah, it's like she was seriously figuring it out as she went.
Like looking back at what she'd done before and thinking, oh, next time I'll do it this way.
Like having a close-up of the weapon going into the face, because you could tell she had great effects, but she just wasn't quite showing everything.
That was the other, exactly. And that's something I identify with as an artist and as a director. You know, you do learn on each individual project, you learn something new. So I really enjoyed Night of the Zodiac,
because this is cool. This is a lady who's making shot on video gore films in 2024 and loves it so much, and it's hard to not feel that sort of infectious love.
All right, let's move on to our next movie. We're going to go with one that I'm going to lean heavily on Shay to discuss.
Because you were snoozing for part of it.
It made me fall asleep. It is Savannah Electric. And God knows if there's a trailer, but if there is, here it is.
Okay, from 1985, you heard that 75 minutes. This here is a Canadian epic. This was made in, oh my gosh, there's like a giant sand dune area, I think is it Montreal? I'm not really sure exactly where, but this is kind of like a tone poem, something between El Topo. What was the other one?
It was like El Topo meets Star Wars meets Tarkovsky, who I've already mentioned once today.
Oh, you know what it really is? Okay, this is what I was trying to think of. It's like Richard Corbin's The Dark Planet. Richard Corbin is a comic book artist. Mm-hmm. He did the painting on the cover of The Spookies and is known for having very strange anatomical choices on his characters, to the point where sometimes people really hate his stuff because it isn't quote unquote correct, but there's an emotional resonance with every choice that he makes. And he was a sculptor as well as a painter, as well as an illustrator and a writer, and he did it all. And him and his wife made a backyard film that's totally bizarro and completely almost devoid of dialogue. That's basically what Savannah Electric is, except you're following this almost gunslinger type character, like the gunslinger from the Dark Tower series, through the desert. And you know that there is this indoor sort of robotic force, and you learn through narration that it is the world's first sentient computer. So it's like an AI kind of robot, like Howl's Moving Castle. But it's moving through the desert, and it's picking up the remnants of human society because it's a dystopian post-apocalyptic movie type thing. So but the robot is not necessarily kind, and it's fueled and run by a bunch of clones, and one of those clones escapes, and then he's tracked down by a bounty hunter sent by the robot AI vacuum cleaner. It's like Comb the Desert in Spaceballs, but way more like hardware. This
movie sounds awesome.
How
do I see it?
It sounds amazing. But the thing is,
because I didn't watch that movie.
It's incredibly slow.
Yeah.
It's like nothing happens. But then every time you look at the screen, it's fucking awesome. Like, it looks cool, but there's just not really any plot. I had to glean all this from the narration. It's like every 15 minutes, somebody tells you what's going on, and then it's just a bunch of imagery.
Yeah, no dialogue. It's a lot of synth music with images of the desert and people walking through the desert and falling over and getting up. And normally Shay, I can set my watch by Shay falling asleep in the last 20 minutes of a movie. But I actually fell asleep 20 minutes into this movie. I never fall asleep during films, so there's something very, very soporific about Savannah Electric. And to top it all off, at the end of the movie, we were treated to a director Q&A.
That's right. Perry Mark Strategic, I think.
Easy for you to say.
It was conducted by John Vaughn, who does a VHS series at a theater up in Canada, and he's a collector. And what was interesting is he would ask the questions and then the director answered. It was almost like they were volleying back and forth. They weren't talking in real time.
Yes.
Like he sent the pre-recorded questions, the
Yes.
director responded to the pre-recorded questions, and then
Yes.
it was edited
And they
together.
edited it
Yeah.
together. It was very strange.
But yeah, what I really wanted to
Right.
highlight was the soundtrack. You mentioned the synth score, but it's pretty experimental. It reminded me of Coil.
Oh, yeah.
Or if Einsters and die Neubauten were playing their new material with the gear that they had 40 years ago. It's very esoteric and clanky and blippy, very hypnotic. If it were on vinyl, it would be on mute or Tesco, and you could take literally any still from any moment and that would be the cover. So it's really interesting, and I'd heard of it, had never ever in my wildest dreams expected that I'd have a copy. And here it is. It's Lunchmeat, Zelco, Omni Optica, co-release.
But let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum with one of the greatest movies I've seen this year. It's so good that I wanted to... In fact, I still think I'm going to do it, because released by Lunchmeat in 2024, I do think this is going to go in my top 10 of the year over an Arrow in December. Because, yeah, Blood and Steel is an absolute masterpiece. I really hope there's a trailer. If so, here it is.
There is a place without boundaries. A place without limits. Love is that place. A place that is about to be violated.
Murdered my sister.
You gotta be kidding. You mean one guy just took you all on?
His blinding passion is to destroy the den of evil who have brought chaos and offended his family. And from a distant land comes Steiner, a fighter who is unequaled in hand-to-hand combat.
You'll die if you fight me.
I'm paid to be here, and I'm gonna kill you.
Blood and Steel. What follows is an all-out tour de force battle of martial arts as Sweatland shatters the domain of corruption.
Directed and starring and written by, yes, this is a glorious vanity project by Mark Sweatland. In fact, at the start it says Mark Sweatland presents a Mark Sweatland presentation, which is glorious.
Something you spoofed in a little more flesh was a Stanley Durall film presented by Stanley Durall by Stanley Durall.
Exactly. So this is the ultimate like vanity thing. And so when I saw that, I had pretty low expectations, to be honest. I thought it was going to be one of those like Get Even or whatever, where you spend most of the time laughing at it. Whereas actually, Blood and Steel, while it is silly and funny and has the kind of bad acting you'd expect, also has an incredible amount of heart, and it's actually well directed. There are shots in here very early on where I was like, oh, holy shit, he's actually thought about composition and lighting, and he's shooting that from an interesting angle, and wow, that actually has some visual language. Like, he is communicating something with this. So I got pretty excited. And then, yeah, there are just so many sweet touches. One thing that Chen and I both liked is that his love interest in this movie is just a very, very normal-looking woman. Often in these vanity projects, they use it as an excuse to cast bikini babes or, you know.
Yep, like John DeHart did.
Yeah, exactly.
When I talked to him on the phone, he told me he auditioned over 100 women.
Yeah, whereas here, I think they may have just auditioned one because she's not actually the best actress in the world, but she has a very down-to-earth and, like I say, very ordinary, normal quality, which I very, very much appreciate.
And she's very sweet. And
she's got a charisma, but...
She does, and he does too. He's...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about his hair. So... This is when we first noticed, wow, he must love Bruce Lee.
Yes.
Because he is, okay, the cover, spoiler, he's wearing the yellow and black Bruce Lee suit.
Yeah, for some reason we just we assume that this was like modern art and they were really highlighting the fact that this is a Bruce Lee influenced movie because he has the Bruce Lee hair, he does Bruce Lee noises when he's fighting. Oh, and by the way, the fights in this thing are fucking incredible.
He's an insane fighter.
He's so good.
He's fucking amazing. He actually is up there. Like I could not believe that he wasn't more of a star.
Yeah, he's like, forget, Arnie or Stallone or even Jean-Claude Van Damme. He is of the level of the more Eastern influenced martial artists, like a Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah, he is Cynthia Rothrock style. But you could tell he was really modeling himself after Lee.
Oh yeah.
To the point where he would hold the pose and he would fight a lot like him.
Yeah.
But he had his own kind of almost Chuck Connors sort of, not Chuck Connors.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Chuck Connors, could you imagine? Sorry, not the rifleman. We want the action genes. And I think he had action genes because he was so fast and powerful, and he'd do the thing with his hair. His hair would kind of fly around and land on his face, and he's got sweat everywhere flying. And you could see his power and his control. And you could tell that he was also working with people who knew what the hell they were doing. Like everybody from his dojo had to have been in this.
Definitely.
Major Miami
connection
vibes. Yeah, it is such a completely heartfelt, amazing experience.
Yeah. Oh God, I love this. This will be a memory that I retain for many years, I think.
And there's a couple of women in it who really kick ass too. This scene where they're attacked by the side of the road by a guy in a leather sort of almost Tom of Finland outfit with a switchblade. And they just kick these dudes' asses. Yeah. They stomp ass.
We were genuinely cheering at the screen because it did seem like a kind of cliche, tropey style thing. And then it just kicks off and it's amazing.
My God.
Oh, I loved it so much.
Did you say the year too?
I did not actually. 1990.
1990. And I went down a rabbit hole with Mark Swetland.
Oh, you did?
Because I was like, tell me more about him. I must find him. He's on Facebook. He has maybe 20 friends. I sent him a request. And get this, he is an expert safecracker.
Yeah.
That's what he went into. So I've realized this guy, Mark Swetland, he gets hyper-focused on something and he learns everything that he possibly can about it, and then he excels and he tries to be the very, very best. And apparently his specialty with safe cracking is not the style where you drill into it. He's able to crack it without actually breaking the safe. He's able to somehow listen to it and sort of dissect it from the outside. Mm-hmm. And he was on a TV show, I forget the name, it's Impossible Heists, I think is the name of the show,
right.
where they assemble two different teams and they reenact famous real-life heists to see if one team can beat the other. And he was on a whole season of it, I think, and he was the safe expert. He reenacted a heist from the 70s where people scaled a condo that had probably 12 stories, and through the window they broke in and then made their way through lasers. He cracks the safe without even drilling into it. It's amazing. And it was so funny looking at all that, these are the people on the team. And there's a little thumbnail of him and he looks exactly the same. He's still got the blonde hair. He has a very distinct face.
Kind of Viggo Mortensen-esque.
Oh my God, he looks like Viggo Mortensen in a Bruce Lee Halloween costume.
Yeah.
That is exactly him. This was an amazing, amazing find. And I think it may be out of print already, but if it is not, please go and get this. It's on yellow tape.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's on a yellow VHS shell.
Yeah.
It is absolutely gorgeous and just a delight. Looks like it's a co-release with SRS. I am very tired.
Lady. You need to summon up some reserves of strength for our last tape here. This will not have a trailer. This may end up being our shortest episode ever, because I don't think there's any trailers for any of this stuff. But, Shay, you have quite a fantastic story about how this came into your possession. Metallica Drummer from 1999, and if there's a trailer, here it is. Of course there isn't. Tell us all about it.
So the other day, I dropped off my daughter at high school and had my oldest with me in the car. We needed to make a bathroom trip. Like, oh, wait, we need to go to the nearest bathroom. And of course, the nearest building was the Goodwill Bins. If you're not familiar with the Goodwill Bins, it's basically a giant thrift store chain, and they sell stuff that's donated. It's overpriced and overhyped. But they have something called the bins, where they just wheel out these giant containers of junk, and you can like dig through it, and then you pay for it by the pound. And so you can get tons of clothes, tons of anything that's in there. Basically, they weigh it out, and they sell tapes, I think, for like 49 cents each or something like that. So we went in to use the bathroom. I was like, I'm not going to find anything. I go over to the books. I'm digging through the books, and I see a couple of VHS tapes. It's mostly garbage, Dr. Zhivago and whatever, There was actually a copy of a Jimmy Stewart movie, the one with the bunny on it. What was that? Harvey. So, I mean, not garbage, but just stuff I don't have to have. And then I see something with a red cover, and it has a homemade label, the front end on the top. Metallica Drummer, 1999, Never Ending Entertainment. He's talented, he's obsessed, he's Canadian, he's ... Metallica Drummer. And I'm like, is this a film? Is it like an audition? Like, what the hell is this? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to buy it, whatever, it's 49 cents. I look it up later, find out that this was a tape that record stores carried because word had gotten out that there was this guy in Canada who actually is a real drummer, and he was obsessed with Metallica. And he did about 6 Metallica songs from the Black Album, air drumming on a chair, self-recorded with a tripod and a camcorder. And it's just hilarious because he's actually super, super good. You can tell that he knows every single hit, every single drum, every single cymbal flourish. Like, he nails the whole thing. He just isn't on a drum set. And it was advertised as YouTube before there was YouTube. So because you'd hear about stuff like this and you didn't have maybe the internet or even YouTube to look it up on, you would have to watch it on video or, find it on DVD or something. And somebody made, 100 copies of this tape and distributed it to record stores. So this ended up in a record store called Aquarius Records, which I've heard of. And I used to order stuff from them actually online back in the day because they used to have a lot of heavy metal vinyl. And yeah, this was $11.98 in, I believe, 2003 is when they were selling this. And it's completely out of print and obsolete at this point because I'm sure it's on YouTube. But this is the original Metallica drummer, and it is exactly what we said. Except there's a couple of moments where he's in the car and they're listening to, we were like, what is this music? And then you're like, oh, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And they were just smoking a reefer and driving around Canada. And I don't know, it was just a charming little look at a super fan of Metallica. There was no early Metallica. And I would have really liked to see him do Blackened, but...
Yeah, I did recognize that it was Red Hot Chili Peppers, but mostly because there's a great Nick Cave quote, and he said, I'm forever near a stereo saying, what the fuck is this garbage? And the answer is always the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it was like that. We're like, what is this horrible shit?
And that's what it was. The really early stuff, I just never, no offense to anybody who loves them. I understand Flea is an incredible bass player, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Even when it was happening, I was like,
But Metallica was your thing.
Metallica is definitely in our DNA as a family. My mom is obsessed with Metallica. She followed them when they were on tour, and my mom is a psychiatrist and a really cool lady who just loves heavy metal.
Yeah, so you knew every word to every song. It's really quite odd. It basically starts with them, I think, coming back from a sports game, and then he promises that he's going to film something else, but then it cuts to something unexpected, which is him sitting in a chair and air drumming to all of these Metallica tunes. He's not actually drumming at all, but his air drumming is very excellent. He's got the timing right.
He's very good.
He'll end each song with a flourish. So for one, he jumps off his chair and crashes to the ground. Another one, he takes his shirt off and does the next song topless. But yeah, I found it pretty interminable. It was not for me. I did appreciate that you found it in the bins, and it was almost like it was there waiting for you.
It really was, because I was like, what? Why?
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Apparently there's a copy on eBay for like, I don't know, $40.
Oh, wow.
But
Holy shit.
it has not sold. And I got
49
49 cents. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $1.
And that's it for this week. Short but sweet, like a perfect pop song or an 88-minute action movie, or
the time it takes you to watch Metallica drummer and then go, I've seen enough.
And yet we watched it all the way to the end. These episodes will be brief, but they will be frequent. In fact, next week probably more frequent. I think we're going to do one pretty
quick. We've actually already watched half the movies for it, so we'll get that out in a couple of days.
So stay tuned, there will be more. I've been Sam Ashurst.
I've been Shay Mossifin.
This has been VHS Quest. Please eject yourself.